Hey everyone, and welcome to the final video of our Python for Absolute Beginners series. Today we're going to build the rock, paper, scissors game together. Let's get it started. So, first, let's say we have the following options: rock, paper, and scissors. Now, the computer will make a random choice from these, and for that we need to have the random module. So we need to also import the random module, and for that let's say computer choice is, and we can use random dot choice and give our list of choices, which is options. Now at this line the computer will make a choice, but as a user, we also need to make a choice. So we need to get the user's choice, and for that, we will use the input function. So let's call it user input, or maybe I will do user choice, and I will use input, and we will say enter your choice, and let's say rock, paper, scissors. But what if the user enters rock with capital R? So our code will fail if we don't fix this. So let's fix this. So what we can do is basically convert whatever the user enters into lowercase, and we can do it just as easily saying user choice dot lower. This method will make all the letters lower basically. So we can already run this. And let's say the user enters paper. All right. Now we need to, let's print the computer chose computer choice, and let me put a next line, and also let's say now the user chose user choice. All right, so let's print this. So we see that the computer has chosen scissors and the user has chosen paper. Now we need to decide who wins. And for this, we will use the if statements. So we will say if user choice equals computer choice, then print it is a tie elif. So when does the user win? So there are three cases when the user wins. So if user choice equals rock and computer choice equals scissors, the user will win. So this is one condition. Or let's go to the next line. If user choice is paper and computer choice equals rock, then also user will win. Or the third case is where the user choice equals scissors and computer choice is basically paper. Then we will print you win. So the and here is a logical ands. Both of the or all of the basically statements around it has to be true so that the whole thing is true. and the or is basically a logical or. So basically, if one of these three, this one or this one or the last one is true, then the whole statement will be true. It means that the user has won. All right, so let's, and all the other cases, basically the user loses. So all right, let's run this. For our current choice, the user has chosen paper and the computer sees it. So the user has lost. Let's see if this works. Yes, it works fine. With our current program, you can play one round of rock, paper, scissors with the computer. But what if we want to have a best of three match? So let's improve our code so that we can do basically best of three. So the player that wins two games will win the game. In order to implement this, we need to use while statement. Let me first introduce the while statement. Let's say we have a number which is 0, and then we say while number is less than 4, print number is number, and we will increment the number by 1 every time. So what happens is that first number is 0, and when Python checks this first time it is true, then Python will run these two lines. And every time it runs here, it will increment it. At some point, number will become 4, and this statement will be false. At that point, Python will not run this block of code. Basically, it will go out of the while loop. So let's run this. And you see it in action. Basically, number is 0 and number is 3. It's also printed, but when the number is 3, then here it will become 4. And then when Python checks the condition of the while statement, because this is now false, it will not run. So it's quite simple. It has, you write while, and then there is this condition. While it's true, Python will basically run these code again and again and again. All right, a short introduction to while. Now, to do a best of three match, we need to save the user score and the computer score. So I will introduce user score, which is 0, and computer score also 0. The rest of the code is pretty much the same, except that now we will use a while loop. So we will say while user score less than 2 and computer score less than 2. So basically, we will play the game until any of the user score or the computer score is 2. If any of these is 2, one of this or this will be false. And since we have an AND, the whole thing will be false and we will get out of the game, out of the while. And the code inside the while is pretty much the same. So I can just copy, let's copy paste some of our code. Let me put this outside because this is always the same, and do the indentation. All right. So first computer makes a choice, and then the user makes a choice, and then we lowercase user's choice, and now decide who wins the round. And for that we have our code here. I'm gonna copy paste it as well. All right. But this time we need to keep track of the score. So if it's a tie, we don't care. We will play again. But if the user wins, then we need to say user score we need to increment it, add 1. And if the computer wins, computer score will be added by 1. So basically, we just 2 things are changed here. We have 2 variables to keep track of the scores, and we use the while statement. So if any of the players, so the user or the computer, if any of them reaches 2, the while will stop and we will go outside of the game. So let's go outside of the game. Let's print something like game over. And let's say if user score equals 2, then it means that user have won. We can say, congrats, you are the champion. Else, which means computer score is 2, basically, print the computer is the champion. Let me also add the prints that, let's say, print, let me add it here. So let's say, let's use an F strings. Let's say computer chose computer choice and user chose user choice. So let's run our code. And now we're in the game. As a user, we need to enter. So I enter paper. And let's see if there is anything. So computer chose scissors and user chose paper. So I lost the first round. Let's choose rock this time. So this time I won. Now let's choose again rock. It's a tie. I'm gonna keep choosing rock. It's still a tie. Rock. Computer chose scissors and user chose rock. So we finally won. Great. So this is basically it. One can also put some of these codes inside a function. Let's try to do that. Let me copy this part. Let's define a function called user score, and which gets user choice as input. Let's copy. So this is already, we get it. I will keep this in case that user enters a capital letter. The rest stays the same. If it's a tie, we will return 0 as an output score. Or we can just say score is 0. If user wins, we say score is 1. And if user loses, and the score is -1, let's say. And now we can return the score. All right, so we have a function. So user will enter his choice. We will put it as an input parameter, input argument to this function. And we will get the computer choice. And then if it's a tie, the score is, this function will return 0. If user wins, integer 1. And if user loses, integer -1. Let's run this, that Python knows this function. Now we need to build our code. So I'm gonna copy all of this and paste it here. We can also, let me do this. This we can also put back here. Let me rerun this. Now here we only the user choice is kept. This is also done inside the function. This is all can go away. And we call our function. So let's say user score. We call our function user score. Well, let me not put it user score. Use another variable name. Let's say score. And call user score and user choice. All right. So user makes their choice here, and we give this choice as an input to our function, and we will get 0, -1, or 1. And now if a score equals 1, this means that user has 1. We can say, okay, I see that I have user score here. You know what? I'm going to change this user score function. All right, so that we don't have overshadowing problems. All right, so user score will be incremented if the score is 1. Elif score is -1. In this case, computer score will be incremented. And we can stop here, else it means that it was a tie, so it doesn't matter. So we can keep it as it is. Now, let me rerun this again, and let's play the game again. Let's see if our code works. All right. So let's enter rock. Okay, I won. I'm gonna, whatever, paper. So I lost. Let's do it again, paper. I won, and game over. Again, we won again. It's our lucky day, and I will stop here. So congratulations on finishing this project as well as the entire series. I hope this has shown you just how powerful and fun programming is and how simple it is to program. Don't stop here. Try adding new features to this game, as well as try to find new Python projects, as well as new challenges. Keep coding, and see you in the next videos.